You are holding a masterpiece that has no frame. You can see it. You can smell the wet oil on the canvas. You can feel the vibration of the colors, the deep indigos of your shared history, the gold leaf of your shared potential. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever witnessed. And yet, when you reach out to hang it on the wall of your actual life, your hands pass right through it. It has no weight. It has no gravity. It has no place in the three-dimensional world. For years, perhaps decades, you have lived in the almost. You are a person of substance. You have built a career. You have raised children. You have traversed the dark night of the soul. You are not a novice to the spiritual path. And yet, in this one connection, you feel like a ghost haunting your own house. The connection is electric. It is a lightning bolt that never hits the ground. It remains suspended in the clouds, illuminating everything for a brief, blinding moment, only to leave you in a deeper darkness when the flash fades. You ask yourself, how can something that feels so divinely ordained feel so structurally impossible? Why does this person, this avoidant soul, who mirrors your deepest depths, remain a perpetual promise that never becomes a presence? Why do you, the anxious heart, the holder of space, feel like you are waiting for a train at a station where the tracks haven't been built yet? Today, we are going to stop looking at the why of their behavior and start looking at the what of the architecture. We are going to talk about the puer and the puer, the eternal youth, and why your union feels like an unfinished masterpiece. It is time to understand why the sky cannot support a roof and how you can finally bring your feet back to the earth. In the quiet corners of the psyche, there lives a figure who refuses to touch the ground. This is the puer eternus, the eternal youth. In your connection, this archetype is the invisible architect. It is the reason everything feels like a beginning that never finds its middle. The puer and the puelia are the archetypes of pure, unadulterated potential. They are the divine child within us. They live in a state of not yet. They are brilliant. They are charming. They are full of a light that seems to come from another world. When you met this person, you did not just meet a human being. You met a reflection of your own highest aspirations. This is the quantum entanglement of two souls who are addicted to the vertical. You both want the heights. You both want the spiritual fire. But here is the difficult truth. The eternal youth has a secret shadow. It is a profound, unconscious terror of the mundane. To the pure energy, the earth is a graveyard of dreams. They see the three-dimensional world, the world of bills, of chores, of consistent presence, as a cage. This is why the avoidant soul stays in a state of perpetual flight. They love you in the abstract, because the abstract is safe. In the abstract, you can be perfect. In the abstract, the relationship never has to face the friction of reality. They are the unawakened counterpart, not because they lack soul, but because they lack weight. They are suspended in a high altitude where the air is thin and the view is spectacular, but nothing can grow. You, the anxious heart, the holder of space, believe you are the grounded one. You believe you are waiting for them to descend. But we must look closer. If you are waiting for a person who is perpetually absent, you are also participating in the flight. You are in love with the high of the longing. You have built a nervous system that is addicted to the intensity of the almost. This is a specific kind of spiritual trap. We call it a connection, but it is actually a shared avoidance of the present moment. Your connection feels like a masterpiece because it is made of light and shadow, but it lacks the heavy oils of commitment. It is a cloud cathedral. It is beautiful to look at from a distance. But you cannot live inside a cloud. The puer energy thrives on the chase, the mystery, and the one day. It collapses under the weight of today. This is why every time you get close to a real, grounded manifestation, the energy shifts. The avoidant soul pulls back. The anxious heart panics. The flight resumes. You are both terrified that if you touch the ground, the magic will vanish. You fear that the ordinary will kill the extraordinary. So you stay in the high altitude. You stay exhausted. You stay spiritually rich, but humanly starving. You are waiting for a permission slip from the universe to finally land. But the puer does not want to land. The puer wants to fly until it burns out. To understand this dynamic is to realize that the lack of structure is not a mistake. It is a defense mechanism. It is a way to keep the heart safe from the vulnerability of a real, flawed, human life. You are not waiting for them to wake up. You are waiting for the courage to value the earth as much as you value the sky. The masterpiece remains unfinished because you are afraid that finishing it would mean the end of the dream. But a dream that never ends becomes a nightmare of stagnation. It is time to ask why you are so afraid of the silence of the ground. It is time to see the high altitude for what it really is. It is not a higher state of consciousness. It is a beautiful, shimmering form of exile. This exile feels like a holy mission, but it is actually a preservation of the ego. The ego loves the story of the great, tragic love. It loves the narrative of the twin souls who cannot be together. This narrative provides an identity without requiring an action. It allows you to feel deep without having to be present. The gravity you have been avoiding is not your enemy. It is the only thing that can turn a ghost into a person. The high altitude is a place of infinite vision, but the valley is the only place where things can actually take root. You have been breathing the thin air of potential for so long that your lungs have forgotten how to process the thick, rich air of reality. You must realize that the avoidant soul is not running from you. They are running from the weight of being known, and you are not chasing them. You are chasing the feeling of being almost there. It is a dance performed in the clouds where no footprints are ever left behind. To change the dynamic, one of you must be willing to fall. One of you must be willing to admit that the masterpiece is a phantom. Only then can the true work begin. Only then can the light find a body. We must now look at the pain of the unfinished with a different lens. You have spent years viewing this incompleteness as a personal failure. You believe that if you were only more healed, the masterpiece would finally be finished. You believe that if your avoidant soul finally woke up, the canvas would be complete. This is the great illusion of the eternal youth. It is the belief that potential is the same as reality. But I want to offer you a radical shift in perspective. Perhaps the incompleteness is not a mistake. Perhaps it is the very signature of the archetype you are dancing with. Consider the beauty of the horizon. It is a line of infinite possibility. It pulls you forward. It makes you dream of what lies beyond the edge of the world. But you can never arrive at the horizon. If you did, it would cease to be the horizon and would simply become the dirt beneath your feet. Your relationship has functioned as a horizon connection. Its purpose was never to provide you with a house to live in. Its purpose was to make you look up. It was meant to stretch your heart until it was large enough to hold the entire sky. But you cannot live on the horizon. You will eventually starve there. The exhaustion you feel is the signal that your soul is ready to land. The paradigm shift occurs when you realize that a masterpiece without a frame is not art. It is just a spill. In the world of the spirit, we are often taught that limits are bad. We are told that we should be limitless. But in the world of the soul, limits are sacred. A poem is only beautiful because it has a beginning and an end. A song is only music because there is silence between the notes. The frame does not imprison the painting. The frame is what allows the painting to be seen. It gives the colors a place to land. It gives the vision a home in the material world. This is the necessity of the frame. In archetypal psychology, this is the introduction of the senex, the old king. The senex is the part of you that understands the value of gravity. He is the one who says no so that the yes can have meaning. He is the structure that supports the inspiration. You have been trying to save this connection by adding more spirit. You have added more understanding and more patience. You have added more waiting and more hope. But spirit is like oxygen. It is necessary for life, but too much of it will burn you up. What this connection actually needs is matter. It needs the heavy and the clunky reality of boundaries. It needs the weight of the three-dimensional world. You have been afraid that by adding a frame, you would limit the magic. You feared that structure would kill the connection. But the truth is the opposite. Without a frame, the connection has no container. It has no way to hold the immense energy you are generating. It simply dissipates into the air. This is why you feel so depleted. You are pouring your life force into a vessel that has no bottom. The shift happens when you stop trying to fix the painting and start building the frame. This means honoring the beauty of the limitation. It means accepting that a connection that does not manifest in reality is not a higher form of love. It is simply an incomplete one. The frame is your dignity. The frame is your time. The frame is your physical presence. When you stop providing an infinite canvas, the art must change. It must either find a way to fit within the boundaries of your life, or it must remain a dream. And you must be brave enough to choose the reality of an empty wall over the ghost of a masterpiece. This is not a loss. It is an act of sovereign creation. You are choosing to be a person who lives in a world of substance. You are choosing the sacred ordinary over the exhausting extraordinary. By demanding a frame, you are finally honoring the art. You are saying that this connection is so valuable that it deserves to exist in the real world. And if it cannot exist there, then you are ready to let it go. This is how you reclaim your power from the eternal youth. This is how you become the king or the queen of your own heart. You stop waiting for the horizon to come to you. You turn around and you begin to build your life on the ground. The masterpiece was never meant to be finished in the clouds. It was meant to be the reason you finally decided to come home to yourself. Your anxious heart does not need more hope. It needs the solid foundation of your own presence. Your unawakened counterpart does not need more space. They need to see that the space has been reclaimed by a sovereign soul. This is the moment you stop being a witness to a ghost and start being the architect of your own reality. The frame is not the end of the love. It is the beginning of the life. Only within the frame can the true depth of the colors be known. Only within the frame can the art finally rest. To move from the state of the eternal youth to the grounded sovereign, you must perform a radical act of internal alchemy. This is not something you do to the other person. You cannot force the avoidant soul to land. You cannot demand that the unawakened counterpart grow up. You can only change the frequency of the ground upon which you stand. This requires 3 specific internal shifts. These are the mental moves that invoke the king and the queen within your own psyche. The first shift is the relinquishing of the prophecy of potential. The eternal youth energy feeds on the concept of one day. One day they will see. One day the timing will be right. One day the world will understand our cosmic bond. This is a drug that keeps the anxious heart in a state of perpetual waiting. As a sovereign, you must make the difficult move of looking only at what is present today. You must stop narrating a future that has not earned its right to exist. Audit the reality of your current connection. If this person never changed, and if this dynamic stayed exactly as it is for the next decade, would you be nourished or would you be depleted? The king and the queen do not rule over ghosts or possibilities. They rule over the kingdom of the now. By honoring the reality of the incompleteness, you stop leaking your life force into a horizon that never arrives. You reclaim your energy from the future and place it firmly in your own hands. The second shift is the introduction of the sacred ordinary. The puer and puella archetypes find the mundane world offensive. They want the heights and the synchronicities and the signs from the universe. They want the lightning, but they fear the lamp. To ground this energy, you must find the sacred in the low. You must commit to your own structure and your own physical body. When you feel that familiar pull to check in energetically with the avoidant soul, you must choose to stop. When you feel the urge to analyze the quantum meaning of their latest silence, you must bring your attention back to your feet. Wash a dish, walk on the grass, pay a bill, tend to your garden. By choosing the mundane, you are telling the universe that you are no longer a ghost haunting your own life. You are becoming a citizen of the earth. This change in your energy is felt deeply by the other person. When you become grounded, the avoidant soul can no longer play in the clouds with you because you are no longer there. This forces a choice. They must either descend to meet you on the earth, or they must find another dream to inhabit. Your grounding creates a vacuum that only reality can fill. The third shift is the building of the frame through the power of the word no. The anxious heart often confuses unconditional love with unconditional access. You have allowed the masterpiece to remain unfinished because you have provided an infinite canvas with no borders. You have given endless time and endless understanding. But the queen energy knows that a kingdom without borders is not a kingdom. It is just a field. You must decide what the frame of your life looks like. This is not an ultimatum given to the other person. It is a vow taken to yourself. You must decide that you are no longer available for connections that do not manifest in the physical world. You must decide that you are no longer available for the state of almost. When you set a boundary, you are creating structure. You are providing the gravity that the relationship has always lacked. If the connection is truly divine, it will survive the frame. It will become a structured and beautiful reality. If it was merely a fantasy of the eternal youth, it will shatter. You must be brave enough to allow that shattering. It is better to have a broken dream than to spend your life chasing a mirage. By invoking the king and queen, you are ending the cycle of exhaustion. You are moving from a state of being a holder of space to being a holder of self. This is the moment you stop being a victim of potential and start being an architect of reality. The masterpiece does not need more paint. It needs the strength of the frame. It needs the courage of a person who is willing to be seen in the light of day. When you stand in your sovereignty, you invite the other person to do the same. You stop being a mirror for their avoidance and start being a mountain for their soul to find. This is the path of integration. It is the path of bringing the spirit down into the matter. It is the only way to turn an unfinished masterpiece into a life well lived. You are no longer waiting for the sky to fall. You are building the ground until it reaches the stars. This is your power. This is your kingdom. And this is the only place where true union can ever begin. We are reaching an age where we can no longer afford to live in the eternally promising. You have spent enough time in the stars. You have seen the heights. You have felt the electric touch of a soul that mirrors your own. That experience was not a mistake. It was a calibration. It showed you how much you are capable of feeling. But now, the masterpiece is asking for its frame. The unawakened counterpart is not your project to finish. They are a sovereign soul on their own journey of descent. Your task is not to wait for them to land. Your task is to land yourself, build your temple, tend your garden, rule your kingdom. A relationship cannot be built on potential alone. It is built on the choices you make in the present moment, the small, heavy, beautiful choices to be here, now, in the flesh. Stop dreaming the dream. Start living the reality. For it is only when we are brave enough to let the eternal youth grow up that we finally discover a love that can actually hold us. If this spoke to your heart, perhaps it is because your soul is ready to touch the ground. I invite you to sit with this. Do not rush to the next video. Just breathe. Feel the weight of your body in your chair. Feel the gravity of the earth beneath you. You are here. You are real. And that is enough. Until we meet again.